Plate Motion Unit, Lesson 4.1, Plate Motion near Jalisco, Mexico. Activity 3, Analyzing Evidence. The goal of the next 3 lessons is to determine which claim we can support with evidence. Science Seminar Sequence, Lesson 1, Analyze Evidence to determine which type of motion explains the patterns of geologic activity on the Jalisco Block. Lesson 2, Participate in a science seminar to share your ideas about the evidence and argue for which claim is best supported. Lesson 3, Write an explanation for the claim you think is best supported. Considering evidence and claims and discussing your thinking with peers is all part of scientific argumentation, one of the most important scientific practices. You will be examining some evidence cards Dr. Moraga received from his colleague. These cards present the evidence that you will use to build your arguments over the next 3 lessons. Here's what your student screen looks like for this part of the lesson. Let's start with evidence card A. First, you'll examine the evidence and annotate on your own. Then you'll discuss the evidence with your partner using the discussion questions. Students, open the Science Seminar evidence cards and look at evidence card A. Take a few minutes to read and annotate. Discuss evidence card A with a digital partner, if you have one. Evidence card A refers to a process called rifting. You'll be reading more about this process later. Rifting is a divergent movement or spreading of plate material in the interior of a plate. Rifting can mark the beginning of a new divergent plate boundary, just as when the Mid-Atlantic Ridge began to form between South America and Africa many of millions of years ago. This plate boundary ultimately separated the Mesosaurus fossils by thousands of kilometers and formed a new ocean basin. However, sometimes rifting starts and then slows down or stops. A famous example of this is the Baja California Peninsula, which separated from Mexico due to divergent movement, but did not form a new divergent plate boundary. You will read more about this case for homework. Here's what your student screen looks like for this part of the lesson. Evidence card A provided some information about the potential divergent movement in the TZ rift zone, but much is still unknown. Evidence card B through E will provide more information about this zone, the Rivera Plate, and the patterns of geologic activity in the area. Students, look at evidence cards B through E. Discuss evidence cards B through E with the digital partner if you have one. Read and annotate evidence cards B through E on your own. Then discuss the questions with your partner. Here's what your student screen looks like for this part of the lesson. Once you've finished annotating and discussing, move on to the reflection. Use your annotated evidence cards and what you discuss with your partners to help you answer the questions. End of activity. Be sure to complete all your student work in Amplify for this activity before moving on.